Morning, everyone. I'm Dale. I'm doing this video specifically for you, and hopefully my camera does everything it's supposed to do. So Dale and a few others have asked specifically what the process was for me to do this painting. You've seen the video of it probably in the final painting of it, and I'm honored that people are even asking how I did it. So I'll show you a little bit here and then demonstrate from start to finish as fast as I can. And I may have to speed up this video because it may end up longer than I want it to be. But so before the swirls were on the water was the light colored background. There is a picture of that in my profile if you want to see that. So the next thing was deciding where I wanted the swirls to be on the water. And I even had done test swatches to see how I wanted to make the water. Let's see, there was this one. I was trying to decide what my focal lines wanted to be. So I did something like a combination of these two. And what I did was got tracing paper and held it into place where I could mark off specific parts that I didn't want water and then specific parts that I did. So you can see I marked off the land. Excuse me. And then I penciled in where I wanted the swirls to be, and you can see that's kind of how it looked. Then because it was painted on and I didn't want to leave pencil marks, I just kind of set this to the side and sort of paid attention to where, let's see the best way to show you that, because I'm just showing the water. The best way was decide, okay, this little hook comes from this little part of the land, and then kind of did that. And I did single individual lines of dots, well, hash marks, tick marks, whatever you want to call them, to make the initial swirls the way I wanted them to be, and just kind of followed exactly what I had down here. Okay, so now I will demonstrate that the best that I can to show you. And I only used one color on the water. So I will make up that color, and let's see. Actually, I think I used two colors, one lighter and then one darker. So one is the background color, and then the top one was the actual watercolor. I'm going to make up the one for the background first and then do them here. And I've made this up so that you can see, just taped it on. It's just a small ACEO size 2.5 by 3.5 inch card that is taped down so that I can work on it, and then you can see the process start to finish. So first thing I had to do was paint the background. Get a nice wash of that, and that's what I'm going to do here. Try to get it as even as I can. This is a surprisingly forgiving and easygoing process, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If it has marks, if it has lines, you know, as long as it's not like real obvious things. This background is basically going to be hidden, and honestly, if it had light spots and dark spots, it would probably give it more dimension. So if you will give me just a second, I'm going to pause the video and then dry this and then come back. Okay, I'm back, and this is dry. So the next step is to decide where I want my swirls, and fortunately on this particular example I don't have a lot of or anything to work around. I can just make my swirls wherever I want to make them. So that's what I'm going to do to start with, is just decide, you know, let's see, I want to have a curl right here, and that will go out to there, but I might want something kind of coming in from the side here. So we'll put that out like that. Let's come in from this side and do a little swirl like that. And let's do something completely diagonal here. So we have more of an open area here, a little bit less here. So we'll start at the top, come in like this, go into a bigger swirl, don't close it all the way, and then come back out about the middle, like that. And then come into another swirl here, and back out, and off the page. And the process actually takes a long time, so I'm only going to show you the beginning stages of it, and then you can work your way through it if you want to do something similar. The last one, I guess we'll put a swirl here. And we'll just end it right there. So that looks pretty good. So that's the beginning. And then, so if that's how we want it, we need to move it out of the way and then just set it where we can look at it, and then do something similar the best that we can with the paint. My paint is getting in the way. So I'm doing just one titch darker and mixing it up. And you will need plenty of water because it's going to dry as you go in your palette. And that's the beauty of only using one color. So all you really have to do is just add water, and sometimes it'll be darker and sometimes it'll be lighter, and it really doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, those fluctuations work out to be good. So, and then because they're tiny little marks, I'm going to use a tiny little brush. And you don't want it too wet if it's covered in paint. But if you see, let's see, if you see like a drip at the end of your brush, you don't want that. It'll make your marks too big. So just kind of rub off a little bit, and then, so we're looking here and we have this little one on the side, and then you just do the little marks, and they look like little sewing stitches. And then this one that's here, it comes in, we'll get a little bit more paint. It comes in, cat hair in everything I do. So we're making our first little marks, and it doesn't have to be exactly like you traced it. It'll be any way you want to make it. Because like I said, it's very, very forgiving. Then we have our top one. Oh, see, there's, see how it's like got a drip and a cat hair. Goodness. So then this one at the top here, see, we're going to do that one. And he just comes in, a little happy little swirl, Bob Ross would say. guys ever follow other artists? As far as like the old master type artists. And yes, I include Bob Ross in that because, I mean, it's Bob Ross. I like to look at the things that other artists have done and work with their things. One thing I want to give you a hint about is in your little puddle that you've made of your paint, you're going to want to stir that pretty frequently because particles will settle out and you'll end up with lighter and darker values. And sometimes you might end up with something really light that you don't really like, and you can just go right over top of it and just like this. And you'll have to pardon my shaky hands. I've had coffee and not actually eaten breakfast yet, so coffee on an empty stomach. So you can go right over top of it, another layer. It is not a big deal. And then, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I am going to walk you through this process here. And see how fat those little droplets are. That's okay. It really is. They're just going to sit there. It's better if they're not like that, but it doesn't matter because once you get enough lines on here, no one is going to be able to pick out one specific little thing unless they're really looking for it, and who would even know to look? So then here is where we're going to go into a point and then come right back out. I don't really like the way that one pointed, so I'm going to just kind of fudge it a little bit. And then get a little more paint. And come back out. That looks good. And then this big guy, he's going to come in from the side over here. Loop all the way around. The main thing is try, if you can, to keep from having them be in a completely straight line. Because, believe it or not, those straight lines are more obvious when it's all done than any other part. And it was the same with quilting. And this is where I learned this. Actually, I learned a lot of free motion quilting motifs from Leah Day. I don't even know if she does this anymore, but I watched a lot of her quilting videos on Craftsy back years ago and learned how to use my machine to make art. And now I don't do that as often as I would love to. Because, I mean, really, you know, a body can only use so many quilts. And they don't even sell. If you like sell them, people always say, well, you should sell them. Well, yeah, I should. But then people find out how much you have in supplies just to make a quilt. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not spending that on a blanket. And they don't see it as art anymore. And it's devalued because ultimately, to most people, it's a blanket. So, and that's okay. But it's definitely not a sustainable income. Not art quilting anyway. But this is what I would do with my sewing machine, basically. Each one of these like a little stitch. Okay, so now we see the basic forms. It's not precisely the same, but it's close enough. It's, you know, it's close enough. And so you mix up, make sure you got your puddle, you're good, and you got enough paint, and stir it around, and then you start echoing. And this is where other decisions have to be made. Like this one, I'm going to continue this in just a little bit more and just keep going in kind of a little circle. So that's good there. And then on the hash marks, you don't want everything to line up exactly side by side, so you try to put them in the spaces. And then just keep kind of echoing it out. And let's do that one that way, like it's echoing the inward one. Okay. And then now let's do the outside a little bit. One little dot and dash at a time. Now here's a decision to make. We have this one coming over here. Do we want to do another line around this one or give this one more room to expand? And what that will come down to is deciding how big you want this swirl to be. Plus it will also kind of come close to this one. So for right now, I'm going to leave that one alone. Give this one at least one. And just keep getting paint and stir it each time you get it. And see, as you run out on the paper, you get the lighter and the darker values of the color. So that gives it all that depth and dimension. And since I have enough room, I'm going to squeeze right up into that little swirl and make that into the center of it. And then because we want to see about how big we want this one, I'm going to go ahead and echo this one on this side so that it will be out here, okay? And hopefully I haven't made this video too long because Facebook only lets me make or post 15-minute videos. So if it's close but a little over, I can speed it up enough to cut back on the time. But I really don't have I have almost no technical expertise at all when it comes to videoing and editing and all that. I just use the Facebook Edits app, so if you're viewing this on a computer, to the best of my understanding, they put it in their video player and it may look small on your screen, and if it does, I'm told that the way to fix that is to click on the screen on the video, not play, but on the video, and it should expand and be larger so that you can view it. So now I've gotten 2 lines of these closer to that one. And I think I do want to have this one just a little bit bigger, so I'm going to do one more round of it. And then I think that's as big as I'm going to make that little swirl. And see, it comes right up against this one, and that's okay. That's part of it. And then I'm going to do this one more on the outside. You just get up in there close and try to keep your spaces between them kind of even. Like I said, it's very forgiving. In the example that I initially made, I actually stuck the side of my hand, where I'm left-handed. I almost always have my hand in my project. So I have my hand in it in a place at least once, my thumb in it in a place because I was holding on to it. And that's okay, it didn't matter. All I had to do was just wait on it to dry and go over it again. So now on this swirl, you can see I'm coming up into this tight little V right here. So what we do, When we get up in there, the same thing we would do if we were on a sewing machine. Just get up where you want and then back out. Just like that. So see, we have two little marks there, and this one forms sort of a V, and it makes the next one out. And I'm going to get a little bit more paint, mix it back in my water, and keep on going. So if we go around the outside of this one again, that's going to cover this corner right here. So it's just like I said, it's real-time decisions being made about where you want things to go and how you want your swirls to look. And you can do any shape that you want. It doesn't have to be swirls, it could be anything. And you just decide how and where you want it to echo, whether you want it to be up against the next one beside of it. So I'm showing you certain areas of this because you will do all the same things over here, but I'm showing you this because here we're going to just fill in this space. So that part's done. And here we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're just going to go up in and then back out. And then just keep doing the same thing on repeat. And once you kind of get used to the initial part of it and the decision making and how big to make your marks and whatnot, it gets a lot easier to just get into a flow state with it. So on this one, I'm going to do one more out. Because it'll get close to that one, and then that way I can kind of close that area altogether. Oops, that one got a little close together. I'll show you here in a second though. That's good that happened. I'll show you how I fix that. And basically, in a nutshell, I fix it by not fixing it. You'll see. Where my hand is shaking the way it is, and I often do anyway, coffee or not. If I keep it rested, that helps a lot. Okay, so see, we're getting really close to this swirl. I could add another round around it, and I think I will actually, because I thought I was going to stop with that, but if I make this one a lot bigger, it's going to get farther into that swirl. So for right now, we're going to stop that one right there. We will probably do more, but I'll show you that too. So we're skipping through and then making our swirl continue on the other side. So these two just kind of bumped up against each other. And the reason that I did that around that one is so that when I continue here, it doesn't look like it's something new from outside. And see, this is where those two went together. It's really not a big deal the way it is. But now that it's dry, you just go in and put a mark on half of it, a little bit darker, and now it looks like two marks. It's that easy. So here on finishing this swirl out to the edge, that's all we do. Just add another line. It's no big deal. And we can do the same thing here. We just fill in inside as much as we want, outside as much as we want. I'll show you, we'll do that one. And I think that's probably about where we'll stop, because the rest will be decisions that you can make on your art for yourself. one more that way. And we're kind of closed in right there, so I'm going to come up to there. The bigger you make this part of the swirl, usually the more interesting the swirl is. But you also don't want them to look like they came in on a stick, like a little lollipop. So you kind of want that part to be bigger too. So just kind of aim for balance in it. So here I'm just making this, its stem, if you will, a little wider. So then we have this odd little shape here. So I'm gonna make the swirl a little bigger. And then the stem a little bigger. And then just keep working on it like that. And I wouldn't want to add to this side because it would unbalance this one. You can do it and it will make it look like there's a whole layer of it that kind of broke off and went underneath the other swirl, and that's okay. Matter of fact, I'll just show you what it looks like. So here we'll just make it like that's this swirl going that way. This is kind of part of that stem too, could be, you know, it's just your own little thing, however you want it. It's not a big deal either way. And then, you know, like I said, it's just decisions that you make however you want it to look. And this one, I think I'll go on the outside of it just a little bit more. And then that leaves me here, and I'm just going to fill it in. So there you have it. And then on anything, like, you could do houses, you could do anything, just fill it in however you want. I love the swirls. That's what I do a lot of times in a lot of my quilting and everything. In this one of the things that I did was make the boat hash marks kind of straight, so that it doesn't blend into the water. So you kind of want things to contrast against each other. Like the sky is a little bit swirly, like heat swirling and wind currents. So because it was swirling, but it was wide swirls, I made the cloud small, tight swirls. So I guess that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy this video and that it's useful for you in some way. And if you don't care, give me a like and follow, and I'll see you again soon.